And we're the Y'all Show. Hello, I'm Jon Rawl, and welcome into the program that is all about the South. And we're going to keep it Southern, courtesy of our next guest. And we often say on this program that's all about Dixie how thankful we are that you all listen and watch our program. And right now, that word thankful comes back in play because we're thankful for Shane Owens joining us right now from Lower Alabama. And we're also thankful for his latest project called Thankful for Country Music. Let's welcome in Shane Owens back to the program. Hello, Shane.
Hey man, I'm awful thankful to be on the show today. Thank you for having us.
Well, you got a very appropriately named album and project and all that. We're going to dive into that. But first, Shane, we got to ask about where you are there in Lower Alabama. Tell us where you're bunkering down right now and how things are going there with this whole COVID-19.
We are bunkered down in the mighty metropolis of Sampson, Alabama, a little town down here. We're about 45 miles from the beach, and we're about 45 miles from Dothan, Alabama. So we're right between straddling the two. We're hunkered down and waiting for all this stuff to pass, and it too shall pass. We just gotta, keep our neighbor in mind and take care of each other. And I think that before long we'll be back out there, hopefully, touring and getting our music out there.
Shane, what county are you in?
I'm in Geneva County.
Okay, and what's the positive cases that you're seeing there in Geneva County?
I think in Geneva County we've had like only zero in Geneva County. We've had zero in Geneva County, but right outside Geneva County, I think there's been not too many. So we're very fortunate so far.
And I think somewhere down in that area where you are, you've got suburbs of Sampson, suburbs like Enterprise and also Boaz and Opp, Alabama's also. Are those little feeder communities in for Sampson?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. I tell everybody we're within a football length of everybody around here.
All right. We're talking with Shane Owens, country music singer. We had him on the show last year. You might remember for some of our veteran members of the Yall family, we were at the country radio seminar in Nashville, and we were able to catch up with Shane and learn about his music and discover this is a what we call a real country music singer, what we call a traditionalist. And boy, are you. In fact, you're so traditional that I noticed you've got a nice little quote about you from RT Randy Travis. As Randy Travis wrote, Shane Owens brings it all, vocal, writing, performance, and passion. He's paid his dues, remained committed to traditional country, and brings you a song with heart and a story, songs that will get you through the tough times and enjoy the happy times, and lyrics that will remind you of the threads in life that make you the fabric you are today. He will bless you with his talent and his kindness. To Shane, I gladly pass the baton. Strong words from Randy Travis.
Yes, it is. To be able to work with one of my heroes and somebody I idolized so much growing up. And, Randy's one of the greats of all time, country music Hall of Famer. And to be able to call him a friend is very much an honor. I stay in contact with he and Mary very often. As everybody knows, he's recovering from a stroke and doing well. And it's just exciting to have somebody of his stature believe in what I'm doing.
How did you and Randy even get hooked up? How did he discover Shane Owens?
Well, the Daniel and Dana that own my record label, it's a Nashville, Texas-based label. They're good friends with Randy and Mary, and after I cut the record and signed with those guys, Randy listened to the record. He fell in love with one of the songs on there called "Country Never Goes Out of Style," and just the whole album in its entirety because of the traditional country sound. And I think that's one thing. Like I said, idolizing him and appreciating what he done for artists like myself today in traditional country music. I think it's pretty cool to have a mutual feeling of respect for one another as traditional country artists.
Shane Owens is our guest here on the Y'all Show, talk with a Southern accent, and he is a talented Alabama singer that has been paying his dues in Music City and beyond for a little while. And Shane, I have to ask you, when Randy Travis wrote that you paid your dues, how exactly have you paid your dues through the years?
Well, a lot of these reality shows now you can get on and become an overnight success. I grew up playing the honky tonks, and one of my biggest influences was my grandmother, and in church she played the piano, and one of my biggest influences. But I grew up, down here in the South where we listened to George Jones and Haggard and Whitley and all the good ones like Randy Travis.
And
That's the
you
kind
and
of
you
music
gladly listen to them too, right?
gladly listen. And we hit the repeat button on the Keith Whitley and the Randy Travis and Alan and George and so many different artists that paved the way for me to be able to do what I do today. But I grew up on that stuff, man. I can remember being a little boy, my granddaddy in the cab of that tractor with George Jones blaring over that AM station, back then, and he was getting me tuned into. Little did I know at the time he was tuning me up to become a traditional country singer. He wouldn't listen to anything if it wasn't George Jones or what they call the real stuff.
Oh, okay. What was your granddaddy's name?
Tom Owens,
And what did you call him?
Pa,
Pa.
just PA. We called him Pa.
All right. Well, Pa, thank you, because your grandson there, Shane, is certainly thankful for you, and again, thankful for country music. So you have a record label. What is the record label name?
I'm on Amerimonte Records right now, which
Oh,
is a Texas Nashville based label. Man, they're excited, and we're all excited about what's going on at radio with this brand new single, and they just give me the freedom to be myself, man. And I can't, you know, we all resort back to that big word thankful, but I'm so thankful to be on this label.
and your effort thus far has been successful. In 2018, Shane Owens was named Music Row Magazine's Independent Artist of the Year, and that is quite an honor because trust me, I know how many people come to Nashville and try to get discovered, even if it's by a magazine, in this case, Music Row. And you got to be, of all the independent artists around Music Row, the Independent Artist of the Year. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. That's one of those things that just it blew me away, man. I think the pendulum towards traditional country music is moving more towards traditional more and more every day, and I think there's millions of fans out there. There's a lot of singers in Nashville, a lot of great talent, but I think that I'm proof that people are starving for the traditional country sound, and I think that the coolest thing. I was telling a story the other day. I've got a 16-year-old son that loves listening to Merle Haggard and Keith Whitley. So I know there's hope.
Good for them. You've raised them right. And one of the things that you do with your music, Shane, that we love right here at the Y'all Show is you keep it Southern. In fact, you had a project called It's a Southern Thing, and that's what we had fun talking with you back in 2019 at CRS about. So the South evidently is a big part of your music.
Absolutely. Growing up down here in the South, we've got a I tell everybody, especially during this quarantine period, there's people sitting in these big cities, in these apartments, and I know they're feeling trapped. At least here in the country, we got a catfish pond to walk down to. We got a dirt road we can get some exercise on, and I wouldn't trade anything for anything in the world for being raised the way I was raised. With just great mannerisms my mom and dad raised me with, and being out here in the country where we can do what we want to do is certainly a blessing.
You mentioned you've got a new single. It's called Love Me to Death. We're talking with Shane Owens, and we love Shane Owens to death, it sounds like, right here on the Y'all Show. Tell me about Love Me to Death. Who wrote that, and what's it sound like?
Well, this song takes on a whole new meaning because one of the co-writers on the song was Joe Diffie.
Oh, man.
Sadly, we just lost a great pioneer for country music, one of the best voices of all time. And like I say, the song takes on a whole new meaning. We debuted at number 77, which is huge.
When
It's
was
the
that
number
debut?
day before. Let's see, this past week.
Okay.
This past week at number 77. It's number one in downloads at radio stations. So we're so excited, man. And it takes on a whole new persona, being that Joe Diffie was one of my heroes as well, and he was a co-writer on this song with Ashley and Galen Griffin. It's just it brings a whole new thought process to that record because one of the greats that have left us way too early was a co-writer on my current single, and that's another dream come true for me.
Now, was this a song Joe Diffie wrote many years ago and may have been even a cut on one of his albums?
No, it's actually a song him and Galen got together and they had an idea about here, I think a couple of years ago, and wrote the song. And the minute I heard the song, I was first of all jealous because I wasn't a part of writing it, and second of all, it's just I told him, man, I want to cut that song, put it on hold, don't let anybody else have it because I know it's a hit. And just to have somebody like Joe Diffie believe in me, and as well as Randy and John Anderson, and so many people that are believing in what we're doing, legendary country artists that were gracious enough to lend me a song, man, and let me have a hit with a song that he could have easily had a hit with. Just shows how classy he is.
Jon Rawl talking with you here on the Y'all Show, Talk with a Southern Accent. Our special guest is Shane Owens, visiting us from beautiful Sampson, Alabama, where I have to ask you, Shane, how many Dollar Generals y'all got there in Sampson?
Man, it seems like we got one, but when you get outside Sampson Enterprise and Op, it seems like there's one on every corner. So if that ain't country, I don't know what is, man.
That is country. And we talked about Joe Diffie co-writing that "Love Me to Death." That's a part of the new CD, "Thankful for Country Music."
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
the current single off the brand new album, Thankful for Country Music, and we're so excited about it.
All right. And again, how can fans find this album, Shane?
You go to ShaneOwensCountryMusic.com. You can also click on all the social media outlets right there. You can check us out on Facebook, Spotify, and all that stuff. But go to ShaneOwensCountryMusic.com and pick up a copy of the brand new album.
All right. And I know it's a good thing to do right now while everybody's quarantined. You can check out this brand new music from Shane Owens that has this new single, "Love Me to Death." All right, Shane, when you're not out performing, which, by the way, I have to ask you, this virus thing has shut down everybody in the music business, it seems. And if this weren't going on, I assume you had tour dates scheduled throughout April and May into the summer.
Yeah, we had a lot of dates we had to postpone right now. Hopefully, we'll get to reschedule some of those. You know, we were fixing to go out on a radio tour and promote the brand new single, which is already debuted at number 77. So I knew that was going to keep us busy. But, you know, at the end of the day, we've got to do what our world leaders ask us to do, and everybody needs to obey and heed the warnings and do what we're asked to do. And then we have to, of course, put it all in the good Lord above hands and pray for one another and take care of one another. And I think, you know, one thing I tell everybody, I believe in my heart, if there was a lot more love in this country, it'd be a better place to be. So we need to love one another more and take care of our neighbor and pray about this situation. And hopefully, if the good Lord is willing, we'll be back out there on tour. And, you know, we want to say thanks to all our friends and fans of country music and people like yourself that believe in what we're doing as well.
Amen. Shane, are you fortunate enough to do music full time, or do you have to do another job Monday through Friday?
You know, I've been so blessed for the last few years to be able to do music full time. It's something I don't take for granted because in this business, you can have a hit one week and be off the radio the next. So we count our blessings every day. We're just so thankful that people out there still believe and request traditional country music, and I think that kind of music's never going to die. So we should be in good hands. And like I said earlier, the pendulum towards traditional country music is swinging back our way. I see it more at radio, and I see it more in our live shows, and it's awful cool to see this younger generation wanting to know who Merle Haggard and George Jones and Keith Whitley and Vern Gosdin is and was, and listening to their music.
One thing country music, I just heard you mention those names. One thing country music could use are singers with cool nicknames. So let's play a little trivia, which I know you'll get this right, Shane. Let's play a
Okay.
little trivia. I heard you mention George Jones. He had two nicknames, and those two nicknames would be?
Possum and No Show.
There you go. All right. I heard you mention a guy named another Alabamian, Vern Gosdin. His nickname.
The Voice.
Amen. And Keith Whitley, I never heard a nickname for Keith, but maybe you know one.
You know, the one thing I say about Keith, now I talk about Randy, and I'm glad to call Randy a friend. And I was honored enough to meet George Jones and do a few shows with him,
Did you?
and meet. Yeah, we opened up for George 4 or 5 different times. And so many different artists like John Connolly, Billy Joe Royal. I can sit here and go on and on over the years of people we've had the opportunity to share the stage with, including Toby Keith and so many modern day country singers out there now. But my greatest the singer greatest of all time. Though I don't think there'll ever be another Keith Whitley. A lot of people don't know that Keith Whitley had songs cut that George Strait and Randy Travis had hits with after Keith passed away, sadly. You know, a lot of those songs were recorded by Keith and stacked up. He was going to be one of the biggest names and still is one of the biggest names in country music. But he's my all-time favorite. You know, one of the greatest voices of our time. And I love to hear Keith Whitley song.
Yeah, Keith Whitley didn't have a nickname that I'm aware of. You mentioned those other artists. People like Don Williams was known as the.
Gentle Giant.
There you go. All right. So my whole point of bringing all these nicknames from yesteryear up with you, Shane, we need a good nickname for you. Maybe you already have one. So what is your nickname?
Man, you know, if anybody wanted to nickname me anything out there, I just, man, boy, what an honor to be called. Boy, it'd be honored to be thought of as somebody like Vern the Voice, or I couldn't be named No Show because I'm going to show up for all my shows.
A lot of times George did show up. He just was late.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't think I'll ever be late for because I love it so much. And with all due respect to him, I think I don't know, man. I ain't no telling.
Okay, well, we'll just for right now call you the Possum Voice. How's that sound?
Hey, that'll work, man. I'll take that all day long. Or maybe if anybody wanted to call me anything, the future of country music, I'd take
Oh,
that.
man, he's not shy, and that's what you got to be. There's a lot of people out here competing for a very narrow spot on the country music radio dial, and if Shane Owens doesn't step up and say, Shane Owens is pretty good, then who else is going to be doing it? Well, I'm sure a lot of people will be, actually, but you got to be out here supporting yourself. And Shane Owens, we wish you all the best. Your website is available for people to go to and learn more about what you have to offer. It's Shane Owens Country Music. .com. I know you thought long and hard about that one.
Yes, sir, we did. It only took about a whole 2 seconds.
Okay, ShaneOwensCountryMusic.com is the website where country never goes out of style, and we love what you do. And again, best of luck with this new Joe Diffie co-write that you've got out as your new single, Love Me to Death, and the great new album that you got that is available for y'all to download. You can download it right off your website, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And we just are thankful for country music, and again, thankful for Shane Owens for stopping back by the Y'all Show. Good luck with this virus, and we'll see you when you're out blowing up and going down the highway, Shane.
We look forward to seeing you soon, man. God bless our great country, and y'all stay safe out there.
All right, Shane Owens. This is the Y'all Show. More of the program all about the South is coming right up.